Hi everyone, my name is Frances Tilsi Capulong at we are the Shete. So today we're going to discuss traffic economics. So bago tayo pumunta sa mga topics na tatalakayin natin mamaya, ipaliwanag muna natin ano nga ba ang traffic economics. So ang traffic economics ay ang sangay ng economics na sumusuri sa epekto ng traffic o traffic congestion sa ekonomiya ng isang lugar. Ang traffic ay maaaring magdulot ng pagkabalisang bunga ng pagdaloy or mahabang oras at energy, kawalan ng produktibidad at nagdadagdag ng gastos sa pamasahe. Sa pamamagitan ng pag-aaral ng traffic economics, maaari nating masuri ang mga posibleng solusyon para maibsan ang epekto nito sa kalakalan at kabuhayan ng mamamayan. Mahalaga itong pag-aralan upang mapakita ang koneksyon ng traffic sa ekonomiya at upang matukoy kung paano ito maaaring maayos para sa kabutihan ng lahat. Bakit nga ba mahalaga to? O bakit natin siya kailangang pag-aralan? Ang traffic ay hindi lamang simpleng issue ng kalsada at sasakyan, kundi isang komplikadong suliranin na may malawak na epekto sa ekonomiya. Kung hindi maayos na pamamahala ang traffic congestion, maaaring magdulot ito ng pagbagsak sa produksyon ng mga negosyo, pagtaas ng gastos sa logistic at transportation, at higit pang polusyon sa hangin. Sa pamamagitan ng pag-unawa sa traffic economics, maaari tayong magkaroon ng mga polisiya or policy at proyekto na maglalayong maayos ang traffic at magdudulot ng positibong epekto sa ekonomiya. Ayan, so makikita naman natin dito yung mga agenda or topics covered natin. So, isunod naman natin ang transportation and economic development. Ito naman ay naglalayong suriin ang papel ng transportasyon sa pag-unlad ng ekonomiya ng isang bansa o rehiyon. Mahalaga itong pag-aralan dahil ang maayos na sistema ng transportasyon ay naglalarawan ng kahandaan ng isang lugar na makipag-ugnayan sa iba't ibang industriya o merkado. Ang mabilis at epektibong transportasyon ay nagbibigay daan sa mas madaling paglipat ng produkto or pag-import at pag-export mula sa paggawaan patungo sa pamilihan na nagreresulta sa mas mabilis na pag-unlad ng ekonomiya. Bakit mahalaga ang ugnayan ng transportasyon at economic development? Ang maayos na sistema ng transportasyon ay isang fundamental na salik sa pag-unlad ng ekonomiya. Ito ang nagbibigay daan sa mabilisang daloy ng kalakalan, paggalaw ng tao, at distribusyon ng produkto. Sa pamamagitan ng magandang transportasyon, mas napapadali ang pag-access sa mga oportunidad sa trabaho, edukasyon, at iba pang serbisyo na nagreresulta sa mas malawakang kaunlaran ng isang komunidad. Ang pagsasama ng mga konseptong ito ay nagbibigay daan sa mas malalim na pag-unawa sa epekto ng transportasyon sa ekonomiya at lipunan. Sa pag-aaral at pagpapakilos ng mga ito, maaari nating maiangat ang antas ng kalakalan at kaunlaran ng isang bansa o rehiyon na naglalayong magdulot ng mas maayos at progresibong kinabukasan para sa lahat. The economic importance of transportation. Development can be defined as improving the welfare of a society through appropriate social, political, and economic conditions. The expected outcomes are quantitative and qualitative improvements in human capital. Ito ay hindi maikakaila sa pag-unlad at pagiging produktibo ng isang ekonomiya. Yan ang economic importance of transportation. Dahil ang maayos at epektibong sistema ng transportasyon ay nagbubukas ng mga oportunidad para sa komersyo, negosyo at industriya. Ito ay naglalarawan ng pangunahing papel ng transportasyon sa paglilipat ng mga kalakal mula sa pinagmulan papunta sa mga mamimili at tagatangkilik or yung mga buyer or consumers. Sa pamamagitan ng transportation, mas napapadali ang proseso ng produksyon, distribusyon, at konsumo ng mga produkto at serbisyo. Sa isang mas malawak na perspective, ang transportation ay tumutulong sa pagpapalawak ng merkado at koneksyon ng iba't ibang rehiyon at bansa. Ito ay nagbibigay daan sa mas mabilis na paglago ng ekonomiya sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalit ng goods, services, o kahit trabaho. Ang pagkakaroon ng maayos na transportasyon ay nagbibigay daan para sa mas malawakang kalakalan, pag-unlad ng tourism, at pag-angat ng antas ng buhay ng mga tao. Ang transportasyon ay isang mahalagang sangkap sa pag-unlad ng ekonomiya dahil ito ay nagbibigay daan sa pag-unlad ng negosyo, pagkakaroon ng mas malawakang merkado, at koneksyon ng iba't ibang rehiyon at bansa. Ito ay naglalarawan ng mahalagang papel ng transportasyon sa pagsulong ng ekonomiya at pag-unlad ng lipunan. So, assessing the economic importance of transportation requires the categorization of the types of impacts it conveys. So, dito sa economic importance of transportation ay may nakapaloob na core or yun ang the physical characteristics of transportation, at operational, at ang panghuli ay ang geographical dimensions. So, ayan. Talakayin natin yung mga yan. Una yung core. The most fundamental impacts of transportation related to the physical capacity to convey passengers and goods and the associated costs to support this mobility. This involves the setting of routes enabling new or existing interactions between economic entities. So, ito ay tumutukoy sa pangunahing papel nito sa pagpapabilis ng paglipat ng mga produkto at serbisyo mula sa producer patungo sa mga mamimili. Sa pamamagitan ng maayos na sistema ng transportasyon, mas madali at mabilis ang paglalakbay ng mga kalakal mula sa pinagmulan papunta sa market. Ito ay nagreresulta sa mas mataas na produktibidad ng mga negosyo at mas maayos na access ng mga mamimili sa mga iba't ibang produkto at serbisyo. So, next naman natin is yung operational. Improvements in the time performance, notably in terms of reliability as well as reduced loss or damage. This implies a better utilization level of existing transportation assets, benefiting its users as passengers and freight are conveyed more rapidly and with fewer delays. So, ito naman ay tumutukoy sa epekto nito sa operasyon ng mga negosyo at industriya. Dahil ang mahusay na sistema ng transportasyon ay nakakatulong sa pagbaba ng gastos at sa gastos ng transportasyon na nagreresulta sa mas mababang operational cost para sa mga negosyo. Dahil dito, mas mapapanatili natin ang mga negosyo mas mapapanatili natin ang mga kakayanan ng mga negosyo na mag-compete sa merkado at magkaroon pa ng mas mataas na kita. Next naman natin ay ang geographical na aspeto ng economic importance ng transportation. Ito ay tumutukoy sa koneksyon ng iba't ibang lugar at rehiyon sa pamamagitan ng transportasyon. Ang maayos naman na sistema ng transportasyon ay nagbubukas ng mga oportunidad para sa mga negosyo at mga tao o mamamayan na makipag-ugnayan sa iba't ibang mga merkado at industriya. Ito ay nagbubukas ng potensyal para sa mga malawakang kalakalan, mas magandang kooperasyon sa pamamagitan ng rehiyon, at mas mabilis na pag-unlad naman ng ekonomiya sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. So, sa makatuwid, ang transportation ay isang mahalagang bahagi ng ekonomiya dahil ito ay nagbibigay daan sa mabilisang paglipat ng mga kalakal at serbisyo. pagbaba ng operational cost para sa mga negosyo, at pagbubukas ng oportunidad para sa koneksyon ng iba't ibang lugar at rehiyon. So, sa pamamagitan ng pag-unawa sa core, operational at geographical na ng economic importance of transportation, maaari nating maunawaan kung paano ito nakakatulong sa pag-unlad ng ekonomiya at sa buong lipunan. At the macroeconomic level, the importance of transportation for a whole economy. Transportation and related mobility are linked to a level of output, employment, and income within a national economy. In many developed economies, transportation accounts for between 6% and 12% of the GDP. Further, logistics costs can account for between 6% and 25% of the GDP. The value of all transportation assets, including infrastructure and vehicles, can easily account for the GDP of an advanced economy. At the microeconomic level, the importance of transportation for specific parts of the economy. Transportation is linked to producer, consumer, and distribution costs. The importance of specific transport activities and infrastructure can thus be assessed for each sector of the economy. Usually, higher income levels are associated with a greater share of transportation in consumption expenses. On average, transportation accounts for between 10% and 15% of households' expenditures. In comparison, it accounts for around 4% of the cost of each unit of output in manufacturing, but this figure varies greatly according to the subsectors. So, as a result of these successive rounds of respending in the framework of local purchases, the overall impact on the economy exceeds the initial round of output, income, and employment generated by passenger and freight transport activities. Thus, from a general standpoint, the economic impacts of transportation can be direct, indirect, and induced. So, ayan, direct impacts refers to the immediate effects that transportation activities have on the economy, such as job creation in the transportation sector or increased business activities due to improved logistics. Indirect impacts are the secondary effects resulting from direct impacts, like increased demand for goods and services in areas with improved transportation infrastructure. Lastly, induced impacts are the broader economic effects felt from increased spending and investment due to the initial direct and indirect impacts of transportation projects. Now, moving on to the relationship between transportation and economic opportunities, there are 6 major waves of economic development that have been driven by advancement in transportation. Seaports. The development of seaports has historically been crucial for facilitating international trade and connecting regions. Ports have been central to economic growth by enabling the efficient movement of goods and resources across countries and continents. Rivers and canals. Before the advent of railways and roads, rivers and canals serve as vital transportation routes for trade and commerce. They link inland areas to major water bodies and help spur economic development by enabling the transportation of goods at lower cost. Next is railways. The introduction of railways revolutionized transportation by allowing faster and more efficient movement of people and goods over long distances, and this led to the development of industries, the growth of cities along rail lines, and increased connectivity between regions. Roads. The expansion of road networks has played a significant role in connecting communities, enabling access to markets, and fostering economic development at the local and national levels. Roads have stimulated economic activities by improving accessibility and facilitating trade. Airways. The rise of air transportation has further accelerated globalization by reducing travel times and enabling the rapid movement of goods and people across the world. Airports have become key hubs for economic activities, attracting investments and driving growth in various sectors. And lastly, information technologies. In the digital age, information technologies have revolutionized the way goods and services are transported and traded. Advancements such as online marketplaces, supply, chain management systems, and real-time tracking have enhanced efficiency and connectivity in the global economy. Each of these waves of economic development has been instrumental in shaping the economic landscape by creating new opportunities, fostering innovation, and enabling the efficient exchange of goods and services. By understanding the historical significance and impact of transportation on economic development, we can appreciate how advancements in transportation have driven progress and shaped the way we interact and do business on a global scale. Economics returns of transport investments refer to the financial benefits gained from the funding put into transportation infrastructure such as roads, bridges, public transport systems, and ports. These investments are crucial because they play a significant role in driving economic growth, improving accessibility, and connecting people and goods to different locations. By investing in transportation, countries can enhance their competitiveness, attract investments, create jobs, and stimulate trade and commerce. Para saan ba talaga ang mga investments na ito sa transportasyon? Sa simpleng paliwanag, kapag pinagtuunan ng pondo ang pagpapaganda ng mga kalsada, tulay, pampublikong transportasyon at mga pantalan, malaki ang maaaring maging benepisyo nito sa ekonomiya. Sa pamamagitan ng pagtutok sa transportasyon, maaaring mapalakas ang ekonomiya, mapabuti ang pag-akses sa mga lugar, at mag-ugnay ng mga tao at kalakal sa iba't ibang destinasyon. Sinasabi nga, sa pag-invest sa transportation, ang mga bansa ay maaaring mapalakas ang kanilang kakayahan at kalakalan. Hikayatin ang mga investment, lumikha ng mga trabaho, at magbigay daan sa mas maraming negosyo at komersyo. There are several common reasons for the declining marginal returns of transport investments, which may include the high accumulation of existing infrastructure, economic changes, and clustering. So, una, ang mataas na pagdami ng umiiral na infrastruktura tulad ng sobrang dami ng mga kalsada o tren ay maaaring magdulot ng pagbaba ng dagdag na kita mula sa bagong investments sa transportation. Kapag ang mga infrastructure ay nagsilbi na ng maayos, baka hindi na masyadong makakuha ng malaking dagdag na benepisyo ang bagong proyekto. Pangalawa, ang pagbabago sa ekonomiya ay isa pang dahilan kung bakit maaaring bumaba ang marginal returns ng mga investments sa transportasyon. Halimbawa na lang, kung biglang nagbago ang daan-daang produkto na kailangang i-transport, maaaring hindi na gaanong epektibo ang dating kalsada o sistema ng transportasyon. At pangatlo, ang clustering o pagdami ng mga negosyo at tao sa isang lugar ay maaaring magdulot ng pagbaba sa returns ng transport investment. Kapag sobrang dami na ng tao at sasakyan sa isang lugar, maaaring mapuno na ang mga kalsada, magdulot ng traffic, at maging hindi nangangailangan ng dagdag na investment. Sa madaling sabi, ang pagkababa ng marginal returns ng transport investments ay maaaring dulot ng ilang kadahilanan tulad ng sobrang dami ng infrastructure, pagbabago sa economy at clustering ng mga negosyo at tao sa isang lugar. Transportation impacts can be classified into different types based on their effects on the environment, economy, and society. These impacts can vary depending on the timing of development and the types of transportation systems put in place. Timing of development plays a crucial role in understanding transportation impacts. During the planning and construction phase of transportation projects, there can be immediate impacts such as land use changes, displacements of communities, and environmental disruptions. Once the transportation system is operational, there are ongoing impacts including changes in traffic patterns, air and noise pollution, accessibility to goods and services, and economic development in surrounding areas. Types of impacts can be categorized as follows. Environmental impacts. These include air and noise pollution, habitat destruction, water pollution, and emissions of greenhouse gases. The construction and operation of transportation infrastructure can have significant effects on ecosystems and the natural environment. Economic impacts. Transportation systems can have both positive and negative economic impacts. They can stimulate economic growth by improving connectivity, facilitating trade, and creating job opportunities. However, they can also lead to congestion costs, maintenance expenses, and land value changes. Next is social impacts. Transportation projects can affect communities in various ways. They can enhance social inclusion by improving access to education, healthcare, and job opportunities. On the other hand, they can also result in social disruption, safety concerns, and the displacement of vulnerable populations. So, in summary, transportation impacts can be immediate during the development phase and ongoing once the system is operational, encompassing environmental, economic, and social dimensions. So let's proceed to the cycles of economic development. It refers to the recurring patterns of growth and decline that economies experience over time. These cycles are characterized by periods of expansion, peak, contraction, and they reflect the fluctuations in economic activity. At the start of the cycle, an economy enters a phase of expansion where there is an increase in production, employment, investment, and consumer spending. This leads to economic growth, rising incomes, and overall prosperity. Businesses thrive and confidence is high during this phase. As the economy reaches its peak, it experiences maximum growth rates, low unemployment, and high levels of consumer confidence. However, this peak marks the beginning of a slowdown as the economy starts to reach its capacity limits. This phase is followed by a contraction or recession, where economic output declines, unemployment rises, and consumer spending decreases. During the through of the cycle, the economy reaches its lowest point, characterized by reduced economic activity, high unemployment rates, and decreased consumer confidence. This phase represents a period of economic struggle and hardship for many individuals and businesses. After the economy begins to recover, leading to a new cycle of expansion. The recovery phase is marked by increasing economic activity, rising employment levels, and a gradual return to prosperity. This sets the stage for a new cycle of growth and development. In essence, the cycles of economic development illustrate the ups and downs that economies go through over time, reflecting the inherent volatility and dynamisms of the economic system. Transportation and its economic factor. Contemporary trends have underlined that economic development has become less dependent on relations with the environment or resources and more dependent on relations across space. While the commodification of the economy has been linked with higher levels of material flows of all kinds. So, commodity market. Improvement in the efficiency with which Firms have access to raw materials and parts as well as to their respective customers. Thus, transportation expands opportunities to acquire and sell a variety of commodities necessary for industrial and manufacturing systems. Labor market. Improvement in access to labor and a reduction in access costs, mainly by improved commuting or local scale or the use of lower cost labor or the global scale. An efficient transport system with modern infrastructures favor many economic changes, most of them positive. The major impacts of transport on economic factors can be categorized as follows. First is the geographic specialization, scale and scope of production, increased competition, and increased land value. So, geographical specialization, improvements in transportation and communication favor a process of geographical specialization that increases productivity and spatial interactions. An economic entity tends to produce goods and services with the most appropriate combination of capital, labor, and raw materials. A region will thus tend to specialize in the production of goods and services for which it has the greatest advantages or the least disadvantages compared to the other regions as long as appropriate transport is available for trade. Through geographic specialization supported by efficient transportation, economic productivity is promoted. This process is known in economic theory as comparative advantages that have enabled the economic specialization of regions. Next is the scale and scope of production. An efficient transport system offering cost, time, and reliability advantages enable goods to be transported over longer distances. These facilities mass reduction through economies of scale because larger markets can be accessed. The concept of just-in-time and supply chain management has further expanded the concept of just-in-time in supply chain management has further expanded the productivity of production and distribution with benefits such as lower inventory levels and better responses to shifting market conditions. Thus, the more efficient transportation becomes, the larger the market that can be serviced, and the larger the scale of production. This results in lower unit costs. Next is increased competition. When transport is efficient, the potential market for a given product or service increases, and so does competition. A wider array of goods and services becomes available to consumers through competition, which tends to reduce costs and promote quality and innovation. Globalization has clearly been associated with a competitive environment that spans the world and enables consumers to have access to a wider range of goods and services. The last one is increased land value. Land, which is adjacent or serviced by good transport services, generally has greater value due to the utility it confers. Consumers can have access to a wider range of services and retail goods. In contrast, residents can have better accessibility to employment, services, and social networks, all of which transcribes in higher land value. Irrespective of if used or not, the accessibility conveyed by transportation is impacting the land value. In some cases, due to the externalities they generate, transportation activities can lower land value, particularly for residential activities. Land located near airports and highways, near noise and pollution sources, will thus be impacted by corresponding diminishing land value. So that's all for my report. Let's now call the next reporter.
Transportation and society. Mobility and society are deeply interconnected. The availability and efficiency of transportation system have a significant impact on various aspects of society, including economic development, social equity, and quality of life. So, unang pwedeng maapektuhan ng transportation system natin is yung economic development. First, hindi naman papasok yung investors natin kung hindi maganda yung transportation system natin. Kasi malaki yung magiging transportation cost nila. Plus, yung time na masasayang sa traffic, 'di ba? So, second is the social equity. First, ano nga ba yung tinatawag natin na equity? Emphasize ko lang na magkaiba yung equity sa equality Kung sa equality, fair yung treat mo sa lahat, regardless of their classification, condition, gender, etc. Sa equity, fair din yung treatment mo, pero you are considering their condition, gender, etc. Ang main goal kasi ng equity is to equalize. However, you must be in favor on the one who needs more. So, maliban sa economic development and social equity, of course, malaki rin ang impact ng transportation sa quality ng life natin. Again, pag maganda ang mobility, papasok ang investors, dadami ang trabaho, at gaganda ang opportunities para sa atin. So, proceed din tayo dito sa may mobility. By definition, it is the ability to move or move freely and easily from one place to another. Ito encompasses various modes of transportation such as walking, cycling, driving, or using public transportation, and includes the infrastructures and systems that support these modes. Mobility is the critical aspect of society as it enables people to access essential services, employment opportunities, education, healthcare, and social interactions. So, again, dapat maganda yung mobility natin, saka organize siya para maganda yung maging impact niya sa ating economic development, social equity, at gumanda yung quality of life natin. So, proceed na tayo dito sa may mobility gaps. By definition, it is referred to the disparities or difference in access and opportunities for mobility between different group of people or regions. This gap can be arise due to various factors such as socioeconomic status, geographical location, infrastructure, and policies. So, dito sa Pilipinas, isa sa pinakamalaking problema natin sa mobility is yung geographical location natin. Kasi bukod sa prone tayo sa mga bagyo, ay hiwalay-hiwalay pa yung mga provinces natin. 'Di ba? More than 7,000 island nga tayo Sabi nga ng mga economists na ang transportation daw ang backbone of the modern society. Kaya nga, isa sa mga adhikain ng ibang politiko natin is magkaroon ng isang road network na kung saan pagdurugtungin lahat ng mga major provinces sa buong bansa. Kasi, even the Maharlika Highway itself na nagdudugtong sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao ay hindi tuloy-tuloy yun. May part pa rin na need mo talaga sumakay ng barko o kaya ferry. So, proceed na tayo sa 3 types of mobility gaps. So, una, differences in mobility because of the economic function of an area, particularly between urban and rural areas. So, of course, dahil mas marami ang transportation sa city, kaya magkakaroon din doon ng mas mataas na demand sa transportation compare sa may provinces, 'di ba? Kasi andyan yung sentro ng market natin sa may provinces natin puro bukirin lang, 'di ba? So, syempre, mas ipaprioritize ng government natin yung city in terms of transportation kaysa sa may provinces. So, pangalawa, unequal mobility and travel behavior between social groups, including the respective transport resources such as car ownership. Ang sinasabi lang dito ay syempre kapag mayaman ka, marami kang pera pambili ng kotse, 'di ba? Tapos kapag mahirap ka, edi commute lang, ganun. So, pangatlo, accessibility inequalities to outside market or services such as retail opportunities and as employment. So, syempre, kung saan mas maraming pasahero, dun tatambay yung mga chopper, di ba? And pati yung mga tricycle driver. Alangan naman na dun sila tumambay sa walang kita, di ba? Proceed na tayo dito sa may rural mobility. It is an important aspect of transportation that focuses on providing access and connectivity to residents in rural area. It involves addressing the unique challenges and needs of rural communities where population density is typically lower and distances between destinations are greater. So sabi ko nga kanina na mas mataas ang demand ng transportation natin sa city. Pero dapat pa rin nating ayusin at i-organize yung transportation system natin sa mga provinces. Kasi isa yan sa mga major needs ng farmers natin. Kasi minsan yung product nila is binabarat ng ibang buyer. So, kung maayos yung transportation system natin, pwede na lang nilang ibiyahe yung product nila sa may city. So, yun. Proceed na tayo sa inequalities in mobility. It refers to the disparities in access to transportation and the ability to move freely among different individuals or groups within a society. These inequalities can stem from various factors such as socioeconomic status, geographical location, physical abilities, and systematic barriers. So, ang pangunahing example natin dito ay yung mga disabled na tao kasi most of our vehicle is not designed for them. Pero ngayon meron naman ng programa yung gobyerno natin na dinedesign na rin sa kanila yung mga modern public transportation natin para maging comfortable sila sa biyahe. So, next example natin is the gender gaps. So, way back 1900s, that is the time na yung mga kababayan natin is nasa bahay lang. Minsan nga pati yung education is pinagkakait na rin sa kanila. Pero ngayon naman is unti-unti naman nang nagbabago. Pero sa proceed na tayo dito sa may accessibility gaps. Locations with low levels of accessibility tend to have higher costs for many goods. This can manifest at several geographic scales, from the national to the local. For landlocked countries, most of the goods must be imported through an intermediate country over long distances. The resulting higher transport costs inhibit the competitiveness of such location and limit opportunities. So, una, ano nga ba yung tinatawag natin na landlocked countries? Sa mga hindi nakakaalam, yung landlocked countries po is yung mga bansa na walang access sa mga karagatan natin. For example, yung mga bansang nasa gitna ng kontinente. So, dahil nasa gitna sila ng kontinente, nahihirapan sila tuloy ngayon mag-import or palaguin yung economy nila dahil wala silang access sa dagat. Karamihan ng ini-import natin na products is sinasakay sa mga cargo ships. So, ang nangyayari
Key environmental challenges associated with transportation include air pollution, climate change, noise pollution, and habitat destruction and fragmentation. These challenges have significant impacts on the environment and human health, as well as on ecosystems and biodiversity. Air pollution is a major concern linked to transportation, especially from vehicles burning fossil fuels. This pollution contributes to respiratory diseases, smog formation, and acid rain, affecting both urban and rural areas. It can also harm vegetation and wildlife. Climate change is another critical issue associated with transportation, primarily due to the release of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide from vehicles. These emissions contribute to global warming, leading to rising temperatures, altered weather patterns, sea level rise, and other environmental disruptions. Noise pollution from transportation sources such as traffic, airplanes, and trains can disrupt ecosystems, harm wildlife, and have negative impacts on human health, including stress, sleep disturbance, and hearing loss. This pollution can also affect communication among species in natural habitats. Habitat destruction and fragmentation occur when transportation infrastructure like roads, highways, and railways disrupt natural landscapes, fragmenting habitats and leading to loss of biodiversity. This can isolate populations, limit species movements, and reduce genetic diversity, ultimately threatening ecosystem health and resilience. Understanding and addressing these environmental challenges is crucial for sustainable transportation planning and development to mitigate their harmful effects on the environment and promote a healthier and a more balanced relationship between transportation systems and ecosystems. Transport cost is an essential aspect of transportation that encompasses the expenses incurred in moving goods, services, and people from one place to another. It includes various components such as fuel cost, vehicle maintenance, infrastructure expenses, labor costs, insurance, and capital investments. The importance of transport costs lies in its significant impact on economic activities, social mobility, and environmental sustainability. Imagine transport costs as the heartbeat of the economy, pulsating with each movement of people and goods. Just like a healthy heartbeat ensures the body's vitality and functionality, efficient transport costs are essential for the smooth circulation of goods and services, driving economic growth and prosperity. When transport costs are low and well managed, businesses can operate more competitively. Consumers can access a wider range of products and services, and communities can thrive with improved connectivity. Conversely, high transport costs can restrict trade, limit access to essential resources, and hinder socio-economic development. Moreover, transport costs play a critical role in shaping urban planning and infrastructure design. By considering and minimizing transport costs, cities can promote sustainable transportation modes, reduce congestion, and enhance livability for residents. These can lead to a more harmonious coexistence between urban development and environmental preservation. In essence, understanding and optimizing transport costs are vital for fostering economic vibrancy, fostering social equity, and nurturing environmental stewardship. Like the steady beat of a healthy heart sustains life, well managed transport costs sustain the lifeblood of economies and societies, ensuring a balanced and thriving ecosystem of interconnected activities and opportunities.
Let us now proceed to the factors affecting transport costs. Transport costs are influenced by several key factors, each playing a crucial role in determining the overall cost of moving goods from one place to another efficiently. Let's consider a scenario to understand how these factors interact intelligently in affecting transport costs. Imagine a company, Global Logistics Incorporation, specializing in transporting electronic goods from a manufacturing plant in City A to distribution centers across the country. Global Logistics Incorporation must optimize its transport costs to remain competitive in the market. So the distance between CTA, where the manufacturing plant is located, and the distribution centers will directly impact transportation cost. Longer distances require more fuel and time, leading to higher transportation expenses. For example, transporting goods to a distribution center nearby will incur lower costs compared to reaching a center located far away. Next is the mode of transportation. Global Logistics Incorporation has various modes of transportation to choose from, such as trucks, trains, ships, or planes. The mode selected will significantly affect transport costs based on factors like speed, capacity, and infrastructure requirements. Using a faster but costlier mode like air freight for urgent deliveries will increase transport costs compared to using slower but more economical modes like sea freight or bulk shipments. Volume of goods. The volume of electronic goods to be transported plays a vital role in determining the transport cost. Shipping larger quantities of products in a single trip can potentially lower the cost per unit, as economies of scale come into play. However, smaller shipments or partial loads may result in higher costs per unit due to underutilization of transportation capacity. Type of goods. The nature of the electronic goods being transported can also impact transport costs. Fragile or perishable items may require specialized packaging, handling, or temperature controlled storage during transit, adding extra costs. In contrast, transporting standardized and durable electronic goods that do not necessitate special care can help reduce transport expenses. Fuel prices. Fluctuations in fuel prices have a direct impact on transport costs, especially for modes reliant on fossil fuels like trucks and planes. Higher fuel prices increase operating expenses for transporting goods, leading to elevated overall transport costs. Global Logistics Incorporation needs to adapt to changing fuel prices by implementing fuel efficient practices or considering alternative energy sources to mitigate the impact on transport costs. In this scenario, Global Logistics Incorporation must strategically analyze and balance these factors to optimize transport costs effectively. By considering the distance, mode of transportation, volume of goods, type of goods, and fuel prices intelligently, the company can make informed decisions to streamline its logistics operations and enhance cost efficiency in transporting electronic goods to various distribution centers. So now, explain naman natin yung mga types ng transport costs. At nakapaloob dito yung direct cost, indirect cost, variable cost, and fixed costs. Direct costs. In transport, refer to expenses directly attributed to the movement of goods from one location to another. This includes costs such as fuel, vehicle maintenance, driver wages, toll fees, and insurance. Think of direct costs as the tangible expenses incurred for the actual transportation process, like filling up the tank of a delivery truck or paying a driver for their services. So, for example, let's give a scenario. Sarah runs a small online boutique that sells handmade jewelry. To deliver her products to customers, she incurs direct costs such as fuels for her delivery van, maintenance for the vehicle, and wages for the delivery driver. These expenses are directly linked to the transportation of Sarah's jewelry from her workshop to the customer's doorsteps. Indirect cost. Indirect costs are expenses that are not directly tied to the physical movement of goods but still impact the overall transport operation. These costs include warehouse rent, administrative salaries, inventory holding costs, and depreciation of transportation assets. Picture indirect costs as the behind the scenes expenses that support the transportation process without being directly related to driving a vehicle or carrying goods. For example, John operates a wholesale business that imports electronic gadgets from overseas. In addition to the direct cost of shipping these products, he incurs indirect costs such as warehouse rent for storing inventory, salaries for administrative staff, handling logistics, and depreciation of transportation vehicles such use in the business. Fixed costs. Fixed costs in transport are expenses that remain constant regardless of the volume of goods transported. These costs include vehicle depreciation, insurance premiums, annual licensing fees, and certain salaries. Fixed costs do not change with each trip or shipment. They are stable expenses that need to be covered even if no goods are being transported. So, for example, Mark manages a furniture delivery service that incurs fixed costs like insurance for their fleet of trucks, annual registration fees for each vehicle, and salaries for office staff. Regardless of whether Mark's delivery trucks are fully loaded or running empty, these fixed costs must be paid regularly to maintain the transportation operation. Now, let's proceed to the variable costs. Variable costs are expenses that fluctuate based on the volume of goods transported or the distance covered. Examples of variable costs include fuel expenses, toll fees, maintenance costs proportional to mileage, and driver incentives based on delivery targets. Variable costs rise or fall in direct correlation with the transportation activity levels. So let's give a scenario. Emily owns a flower shop that delivers bouquet to customers across the city. The variable costs associated with the transporting this flower include fuel costs that increase with each delivery trip, toll fees depending on the route taken, maintenance expenses based on the mileage covered, and additional incentives for drivers during peak delivery seasons. Mitigating transport costs. First is the optimizing supply chain management. By streamlining processes, improving inventory management, and enhancing communication within the supply chain, businesses can reduce inefficiencies and minimize transport costs. Sharing real time information, collaborating with suppliers, and forecasting demand accurately can help optimize supply chain operations and cut down unnecessary transportation expenses. Consolidating shipments. Consolidating shipments involves combining multiple smaller loads into larger, more efficient shipments. This strategy reduces the number of trips needed, maximizes transportation capacity, and lowers per unit transport cost. By consolidating shipments, businesses can achieve economies of scale and reduce the overall cost of moving goods. Negotiating rates. Businesses can negotiate favorable freight rates with transport providers, carriers, and partners to secure cost effective transport solutions. By leveraging volume discounts, long term contracts, and competitive bidding processes, companies can lower transportation expenses and optimize their cost structure. Effective negotiation skills and partnerships with reliable service providers can result in significant cost savings. Using technology, implementing transportation management systems, route optimization software, real time tracking tools, and analytics can help business improve efficiency, visibility, and decision making in transport operations. Technology driven solutions enable companies to identify cost saving opportunities, automate processes, and monitor performance metrics to enhance overall transport cost management. By embracing technology, businesses can enhance productivity, businesses can reduce errors and drive down transport costs effectively. Incorporating these strategies into their transportation operations, Businesses can proactively manage and mitigate transport costs to improve profitability, enhance customer satisfaction, and remain competitive in today's dynamic market environment. Provision and demand. Provision refers to the availability of transport services, while demand represents the desire or need for these services. Imagine provision as the number of buses waiting at a bus stop, and demand as the number of people waiting to board those buses. When the supply of transportation aligns with the demand from passengers or shippers, a balance is achieved, ensuring efficient and effective transport operations. Transport market. The transport market is like a marketplace where transport services are bought and, s- and sold. Just like shopping for groceries, businesses and individuals seek transportation solutions that meet their needs, while transport providers compete to offer services at competitive prices. Factors such as pricing, service quality, and accessibility influence the dynamics of the transport market, shaping how goods and people are moved from place to place. Transport supply refers to the availability of transport infrastructure, vehicles, and services to meet the demand for transportation. It's like having enough buses, trains, tracks, and roads to support the movement of goods and passengers. The reliability, capacity, and efficiency of transport supply play a crucial role in connecting people, businesses, and communities, ensuring smooth and reliable transportation services. There are two types of transport needs. First is the productive, and the second is the consumptive. So let us now explain the productive needs. These are transport needs essential for economic activities and business operations. Think of trucks delivering raw materials to factories or shipping containers transporting goods to markets. Productive transport needs are vital for business to function, industries to thrive, and economies to grow. Consumptive needs. This refers to transport requirements related to personal travel, leisure, and daily life. Picture commuters taking the train to work, families driving to the beach for vacation, or individuals using ride sharing services for convenience. Consumptive transport needs cater to individual preferences, lifestyles, and social interactions. So, hindi na natin papahabain, didiretso na tayo sa models for transportation demand. Passenger movements. This model focuses on understanding how people travel from one place to another for various reasons such as work, education, or leisure. It involves analyzing passenger behaviors, preferences, and travel patterns to optimize public transport routes, infrastructure, and services. By studying passenger movements, transport planners can design efficient and user-friendly transportation systems that meet the diverse needs of travelers. Freight mobility. Freight mobility models revolve around the movement of goods and cargo within supply chains and logistics networks. This model assesses the demand for transporting goods, optimizing freight routes, and managing freight flows to ensure the timely deliveries and cost-effective transport solutions. By analyzing freight mobility patterns, businesses and policymakers can enhance the efficiency and sustainability of freight transportation, supporting global trade and economic activities. Transportation supply and demand. Transportation supply is like having enough vehicles, road, and infrastructure to move people and goods, while demand is the need for transportation services. It's similar to ensuring there are enough seats on a bus for all passengers who want to travel. Balancing supply and demand ensures smooth and efficient transportation operations, just like making sure everyone gets a seat on the bus they need. Realized transport demand. Realized transport demand is the actual usage of transportation services by people and businesses. It's like seeing how many seats on a train are filled with passengers or how many trucks are on the road carrying goods. Realized demand reflects the real life travel shipping needs of individuals and companies, highlighting the importance of providing reliable and accessible transport options to meet these needs. Potential demand. Potential demand represents the theoretical need for transportation services based on factors like population growth, economic development, and changing travel patterns. It's like anticipating how many people might use a new subway line or how much cargo could be transported on a new highway. Understanding potential demand helps planners and policymakers prepare for future transport challenges and opportunities, ensuring that infrastructure and services can meet evolving needs effectively. Factors affecting transport supply. Modal supply. Modal supply refers to the availability and capacity of different modes of transportation, such as roads, railways, and airways, and also waterways. It's like having a variety of transportation options to choose from, each with its strengths and limitations. By considering modal supply, transport planners can design integrated systems that cater to diverse transport requirements and optimize the use of different modes for efficient and sustainable mobility. Intermod- Intermodal supply focuses on the seamless connection and coordination between different transportation modes to facilitate smooth transfers of passengers and cargo. It's like ensuring that passengers can easily switch from a bus to a train or that goods can be efficiently transferred from a truck to a ship. Intermodal supply enhances transport efficiency and flexibility by integrating multiple modes into a cohesive and interconnected transport network. Types of bottlenecks. Major supply variables. These bottlenecks refer to constraints in the transportation system that limit the capacity or efficiency of transport services. Imagine a road construction site causing traffic congestion or a shortage of train tracks leading to delays in rail transport. Major supply variables can hinder the smooth flow of goods and people, highlighting the importance of addressing infrastructure limitations and operational challenges to improve transport reliability. Modal competition and intermodal capacity. Bottlenecks related to modal competition arise when different transport modes compete for resources, passengers, or freight movements. For example, a busy port might face congestion as ships, trucks, and trains for limited loading and unloading facilities. Intermodal capacity challenges occur when there are inefficiencies or gaps in connected various modes of transport, leading to disruptions in transferring passengers or cargo between modes. Resolving modal competition and enhancing intermodal capacity are key to optimizing transport networks and ensuring seamless intermodal transfers for integrated transport solutions. Transport demand functions. The stable and recurrent demand. This is like the predictable daily commute of workers to and from their jobs or regular shipments of goods to retailers. It's the steady and expected need for transportation services that occur on a routine basis, similar to the reliable flow of passengers on a subway line or consistent freight deliveries to warehouse. Unstable and uncertain demand. Think of this as sudden spikes in travel for events like concerts or unpredictable surges in freight movement during holiday seasons. It's the fluctuating and unpredictable demand for transportation services that can vary unexpectedly, like a rush of passengers trying to catch a flight during a snowstorm, or a surge in online orders requiring urgent shipping. Passengers and freight demand. Passenger demand. This is like individuals booking seats on a train for a family vacation or commuters boarding buses to get to work. Passenger demand reflects the need for transportation services by people seeking to travel for various purposes, such as leisure, work, or daily activities, while the freight demand, just as individuals rely on trucks to deliver goods to their local stores, businesses depend on freight services to transport products and supplies. Freight demand represents the movement of goods and materials between locations, supporting commerce and supply chain operations. Transport supply and demand relationship. The transport supply and demand relationship is similar to matching the number of available taxis with the number of passengers needing rides. When transport supply meets demand, services operate smoothly, ensuring that people and goods can move efficiently from one place to another. It's like having the right balance between the availability of transportation services and the need for travel, creating a harmonious and functional transport system. Entry costs and its impact. Entry cost is like the upfront investment needed to start a new transportation businesses or expand existing services. Just as setting up a taxi company requires purchasing vehicles and obtaining licenses, entry costs influence the accessibility and competitiveness of the transport industry. High entry costs can deter new players from entering the market, limiting competition and potentially affecting service quality and prices for passengers and shippers. Public sector. The public sector is like the government stepping in to build new roads, regulate transportation safety standards, and provide public transit services. It represents public authorities and agencies responsible for planning, funding, and overseeing transportation infrastructure and services to serve the needs of society. The public sector plays a crucial role in shaping transport policies, promoting accessibility, and ensuring the efficiency and sustainability of transport networks. Elasticity. Elasticity is like how changes in transportation prices affect people's decision to drive, take public transit, or use ride sharing services. It reflects the responsiveness of passengers and shippers to shift in transportation costs, service levels, and overall market conditions. Understanding elasticity helps transport planners adjust pricing strategies, service offerings, and infrastructure investments to meet evolving demands and preferences in the transportation sector. Transport demand is like a magnet pulling people on adventures, shown as colorful waves on a graph. Elasticity, like a playful breeze, decides how prices dance lively or still. Price elasticity impact. Price elasticity is like a mood ring for cost, changing with demand shifts. If it's sensitive, even a small nudge can cause big price ripples, affecting how we choose our travel paths. Constant changes and impacts. Constant changes are like seasons changing, affecting how much we crave different transport options. Challenges pop up like surprise detours, testing our flexibility and adaptability in the journey of transport. Transportation yield management is like a puzzle master fitting passengers into a full train, ensuring every seat is taken without overcrowding. It's the art of balancing the transport skills to keep the journey smooth and enjoyable for all travelers. Fixed transport capacity is like having a set number of tickets to a magic show. Once they are gone, the show is full. It shapes how many can hop aboard the transport train, making sure everyone has a seat for the ride. The role of yield management. Yield management acts as the conductor of a transport orchestra. Orchestrating ticket prices and seat availability to create a harmonious travel symphony. It's about fine-tuning the transport experience, ensuring every passenger gets a front row seat to adventure. So in summary, traffic economics is the dance of supply and demand in the transport world, illustrated like a vibrant painting. Elasticity sets the tempo of price movements, while constant changes bring new challenges and demands. Yield management plays the key role of keeping the transport journey smooth and satisfying, like a skilled chef preparing a delightful travel feast for all passengers. So again, my name is Frances Dale Sicapulong and we are the Shete. Thank you for listening.